I want to go through the testimony of Michael Chelmno, and he was one of only two survivors from Chelmno. As we know, Simon Shrebnik, you watched first, and he's the second one. One of the only two survivors of Chelmno, so he's a very rare witness to what went down. And as a historian, you want to examine what he's talking about. And the first thing on your mind is always, is this reliable? Is the testimony he's giving reliable? But also, you want to think about the importance of what he's talking about. Those two questions should always be in your mind as you're going through his testimony. But first and foremost, before you get to those, so you're going to get to those, you always want to evaluate them for reliability and think about the importance of it. But you really want to pay attention to what they're actually saying. You want to describe it carefully and pay careful attention to the details. Now, a couple of things that come up that I'm going to comment on are, notice the way he's got a relative with him who's holding his shoulder and keeps holding his left shoulder, as if this person knows what's going on with him. The other thing is the fact that he is oddly smiling throughout this whole thing. He smiles almost incessantly as he speaks about it, and this is very odd. Let's watch him for a bit as he speaks about his time in Chelmno.
Qu'est-ce qui est mort en lui à Chelmno?
Was gestorben? Alles heeft gestorben. Weg naar een mens. Nee, dat wil leven. Maar leeft, veel meer leven. Dat heeft daarvoor vergessen.
Tout est mort, mais on n'est qu'un homme et on veut vivre, alors il faut oublier. In Bamoarch.
Maar was gestorben? Ich danke Gott, ich vergesse, was sie gewinnt. Das kommt mir nicht in den Sinn. Aber man hat nicht dafür. Wie geht?
Il remercie Dieu de ce qui est resté et qu'il oublie, et qu'on ne parle pas de ça.
Now, on this matter, when he says he can forget, I'm going to say he hasn't forgotten. And you're going to see why in a bit. But I don't think he's being entirely forthcoming here. And you'll notice that the relative is holding his shoulder. And the way the smile goes off and on, it's very odd. It's very unusual. So pick up on these details. But I think he's putting forward a bit of a dodge at this point and at others. Let's go through it a little bit more.
Est-ce qu'il trouve que c'est bien d'en parler?
Et nie meint, dass sie geht, reden davon?
C'est nicht geht. Für mich ist es nicht geht.
C'est pas bien. Pour moi, c'est pas bien, dit-il.
Pourquoi est-ce qu'il en parle quand même?
En favos rietiye davon?
Ja, jetzt müssen sie doch reden davon. Aber so reden.
Maintenant,
du liegen Bücher, was gekriegt von Eichmann auf dem Prozess dort, bin gewesen an Eides mit allen. Ich lese nicht, ich kann nicht lesen.
il parle parce que maintenant, il est bien obligé de parler. Mais il a même reçu des livres sur le procès d'Eichmann où il était un témoin. Et il ne les lit même pas.
Now, once again, I think he's putting up a deflection. When he's asked, can he, does he remember, why is he talking about this? He basically dodges the question. He could easily have told Landsman, go away. I don't want to talk about it. This is too difficult and you wouldn't understand. Just go away. He could have done that very easily, but he sat down with Landsman to talk about it with the cameras rolling. He knows the camera's on, and he's sitting down to talk about it. So that answer, I'm going to say, in a historical manner, is very disingenuous because he's dodging it. And then notice that he goes on a tangent about the Eichmann trial. Eichmann was one of the architects of the final solution, and Chelmno was one of the witnesses. And he changes subjects from, why are you talking to me, to the Eichmann trial, which has next to nothing to do with this question. So I'm saying he's putting up deflections from the questions that I believe are making him uncomfortable. And we're going to get into why that's important in a little bit here with the other things that go on. Notice the way the smile comes and then goes, and then it comes and then it goes. All these things are very important details. Notice the hand is not
Parce qu'il a
raised.
survécu en tant que vivant.
Ihre gelebt du als lebendiger Mensch oder ein toter Mensch?
Ich bin dort gewesen, aber gerechnet, ich lebe noch, bin tot. Solange ich bin gewesen dort auf dem Platz. Maar ich bin gar nicht dort gefahren, also da habe ich nicht geglaubt, ich kann noch rauskommen von dort, lebendig.
Stop him there for a minute. Notice the smile, and notice the fact that I believe there's a woman there comforting him, one of his family members, I believe, comforting him at this point. And the smile comes on very strong. Why is that happening?
Quand il était sur place, il a vécu ça comme un mort, parce qu'il n'a jamais pensé qu'il survivrait. Mais il est vivant.
Again, he thought he never would survive. Now, I do believe that's reliable. But it's always a matter of why was he smiling at first, and then why did he settle in? And he says he felt as if he were dead. And I do believe, I'm going to take that as being reliable. And let's move up a little bit. And let's go back to this a little bit.
Pourquoi est-ce qu'il sourit tout le temps?
He asks him why he smiles.
Favus schmeichelt dir.
Nu was dacht hij zo weinig, kan me even helfen, maar fijn, gewoon niks. Man moet schmeichelt, man moet weinen.
And he smiles about being asked about why he smiles. And I think it's becoming more evident why he's smiling. Lon's been asked some point blank on it, and I don't believe his answer is very forthcoming.
Qu'est-ce que vous voulez qu'il fasse? Qu'il pleure? Une fois on sourit, une fois on pleure. Et quand on vit, il vaut mieux sourire.
And notice the woman who's with him comforts him at that time. I believe she knows something's going on with him, and that's why she's doing it. And I also believe he's deflecting from the real story that's going on with him on the inside. It's better to smile. And if you're alive, it's better to smile. I think that's a very insincere answer. And we'll go to why. And again, notice the woman is comforting him at that time.
Pourquoi?
And let me jump up through this. But all of those details, the slow thinking is good thinking, is very important to keep in mind, because aspects of his testimony, it's not possible to get unless you slow it way down and really think about what he's doing and why he's doing it and what must be going on with him. And this is part of Landsman working with the witness and trying to get the truth out of him and getting them to re-experience it as best he can. And this comes back to his testimony right here. Let's go to this. And you're seeing now a very worried Michael Pochlebnik talking about what happened with him.
Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé pour lui la première fois qu'il a déchargé les cadavres, quand on a ouvert les portes de son premier camion à gaz?
Vous haben sie gefühlt. Das erste Mal, wie man öffnet die Tiere, und sie haben gesehen die Korbones.
Was haben wir gesagt, hey? Man hat geweint, mit Tränen, gesagt.
Qu'est-ce qu'il pouvait faire? Il pleurait.
Nog een dritten Tag. Hab ich gesagt, der Frau, die Kinder.
Troisième jour, il a vu sa femme et ses enfants.
Ja, maar gaan ze gelijk. Nee, de vrouw is ook precies. Dat is geval. Dan zoekt du hast noch Kräfte, du kannst noch arbeiten. Ein bisschen.
Il a déposé sa femme dans la fosse et il a demandé à être tué. Les Allemands lui ont dit qu'il avait encore la force de travailler et qu'on ne le tuerait pas maintenant.
And I want to stop it there. What you see, you can see he gets very serious before he starts answering the question, and the smile's gone. What I believe is that the smile betrayed his nervousness, because he knew he was going to talk about this. What happened while he was there with his wife and children, what happened with all the people from his town that he must have buried at that time period. And I believe he didn't want to go through talking about it, but I also believe he felt he had to. So that answers Landsman's question as to why are you talking to me? Why did you come here? And why are you talking about this now? I believe he feels that this is so important that in spite of the pain he's going to go through to talk about it, he must talk about it. Because notice the way he is asked about his first day in Chelmno, and he gives a pretty quick answer about his first day, but he then almost immediately shifts to the third day, which actually wasn't the question. And that's when he starts talking about his wife and children. That has been there all along. And so the smile is the nervousness over the pain he's going to feel. There's absolutely nothing amusing in his smile. There's no amusement experienced by him. It's a nervousness that he doesn't want to go there. So is it reliable? Yes. I think what he's saying is overall reliable. I don't think this is falsified in the least bit. Why is it important, though? When you look at this testimony, you'll notice that the Germans are actually not involved in handling the bodies. They are placing Jews in the position of handling the bodies, even of their wives and children. Why would they be doing that? They are distancing themselves from the dirtiest work and the most painful work that would be involved in the Holocaust and undertaking it. They were doing this at Chelmno. They were doing this from the beginning. So that's why it becomes very important. And I do believe Plotchlebnik is very reliable because I don't think he could fake this. I don't think so at all. So I believe he tries to dodge certain things, but he knows he must speak about this and that it's too important to keep walking away from. So that's what I wanted to show you with Plotchlebnik. But the same type of things go on with Simon Strebnik. Same type of issues where you need to watch the way he talks about things, where he is. How does he remember certain things? How does he remember these songs so long after? And all these things come up in his testimony, but similar types of elements are going to come up when we go to the testimony in Treblinka. When he starts talking to Franz Suchomel, who is one of the German officers in charge of Treblinka, Suchomel doesn't know he's being filmed. And watch the way Landsman speaks to him and the way he describes certain things. And it's when he doesn't believe he's being filmed. And then you get Bomba, who knows he's being filmed and in fact is oftentimes in front of a group of people when he's at work and sometimes by himself, but he knows that he's being filmed. So keep an eye on this and watch them as they speak about it and why they would want to hide and why they'd want to reveal and the things like that. Always keep this in mind because you're taking the position that a historian would take and you're evaluating it for how reliable is this testimony and then why is it important. And that's going to be the basis of your essay for Shoah. Take care.